If you're an empath, you're going to love this. Today, I'm diving into 10 reasons why most people can't handle you and your highly empathic nature. Let's go. Hi friends, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Tamie Joyce. I'm the founder of Tamie Coaching, and I run a powerful 8-week transformational coaching program called the Freedom Class, specific to healing and recovery from codependency and narcissistic abuse. If that's of interest to you, be sure to stick around till the end of the video, and I'll tell you exactly how you can learn more about my programs. You know, it's funny. I run a digital coaching practice serving empaths, scapegoats, and awakening light leaders. And interestingly enough, many of my highly empathic clients come to my program completely unaware that they are, in fact, full-blown empaths, and more importantly, what that means in terms of how they process and relate to the world around them. So on that note, today I'm going to be talking about 10 reasons why most people can't handle you if you're a true blue, dyed-in-the-wool empath. And I don't mean a covert narcissist claiming to be an empath because you like the way it sounds. Lord knows there's plenty of those running around. I mean an actual empath. A highly sensitive, highly intuitive, highly empathic spiritual warrior. A mission soul. You know you came to the planet with a divine mission and purpose, even if you haven't quite figured out what that is yet. You're aware there's a divine blueprint within you, a sacred contract and calling etched into the very fabric of your being on a soul level. That empath is the empath I'm speaking to today. So for those of you who know this to be true about yourself, and you've gone through life perpetually being told things like, you're just too sensitive, you're too emotional, you need to have thicker skin, and my personal favorite, you have to stop speaking your mind. In other words, the message is there's something wrong with you. If that speaks to you, I have good news. Although I'm certain you're not a perfect person, nor am I, the good news is there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Even if you've always felt battered by the world, and more specifically, the people around you. Even if you grew up in a family where you were repeatedly told what a problem your sensitive nature is. You've got to know that your sensitivity is actually a gift. It's the gift that you bring to the planet. It's your superpower. But when you don't know or understand this about yourself, it can feel like a curse to be this kind of empathic, intuitive, and sensitive, especially in this realm, now more than ever. And even though the empath's superpowers will manifest in a variety and range of strengths, most people, especially fear-based insecure people, simply cannot handle the frequency that a full-blown empath carries. They find it disturbing. We are, by nature, disruptive, on purpose. It's no accident. And in spite of what you've been told your entire life, I promise you it's not because there's something wrong with you. Quite the opposite, actually. There is so much that is so very right with you. And it's time you start seeing it that way. Because when empaths finally realize this about themselves, get in touch with the truth of who we are, we can go out into the world with a little more elegance and a little more grace, expressing ourselves in a way where we can stand in our truth authentically, allowing soul-aligned humans to enter our inner circle while choosing with wise discernment to love others from a distance. In doing so, we learn how to honor ourselves, trust ourselves, how to not dim our light in a feeble attempt to make others feel more comfortable. You know, all the ways we tend to sell our soul in an effort to appease insecure people. Once empowered, we don't do that anymore. So it's vitally important for us to learn to be true to our authentic selves, who we are at our core, our divine essence. Now, with all of that said, let's dive into 10 reasons why most people can't handle you if you're an empath. Number 1, empaths ask too many questions. As the old saying goes, the truth doesn't mind being questioned, it's lies that don't like being challenged. So it goes without saying, neither do liars, right? And the reality is, empaths ask too many questions, especially for empathy-impaired humans and people who land on the spectrum of destructive narcissism. Full-blown empaths are genuinely and sincerely curious about everything, in particular people and their lives and what makes them tick, and what happened, and all the details. So especially for narcissistic people, we ask way too many questions because frankly, they couldn't be bothered to tell the whole truth, nor are they the least bit interested in contemplating the hard questions of life. And when we're self-aware and we understand this, this is where we can choose to express ourselves in moderation and exercise wise discernment depending on who we're dealing with. And remember, this isn't a value issue. We all have inherent value and worth. But the truth is, some of us are in different places. So remember, not everybody wants to ask or answer a dozen questions and dive deep into the metaphysics of it all, whatever the subject or the issue is. But empaths do. Number 2, empaths are honest, perhaps even to a fault. And what I mean by this is, many of us have yet to develop the habit of protecting our own privacy. We go through life like an open book, which is fine if and when you're surrounded by other highly empathic, well-intended, decent, kind, and loving people who actually have integrity. But sadly, that's not always the case. And this is a big one for empaths, in particular if you're an untreated codependent with regards to your own personal work and what you might still be attracting into your life. I've got to tell you, this is huge because the truth is everything for an empath. I think this goes for everybody, but especially if you're an empath and you're not living in alignment with your truth and for whatever reason you're still carrying toxic secrets or lies, my friend, you have to figure out a way to deal with that so you can set yourself free. There will be zero peace for you until you do. So again, empaths value honesty, and truth is everything for us. And if we're not living in our truth, if we're still carrying toxic secrets, lies, or lies by omission, and all the shame that goes along with all of that, we will get sick emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and ultimately physically. It's a big one. Here's the thing. If I can't stand in my truth in a relationship with you, if I have to pretend to be someone or something I'm not, feel something I don't, forget something you and I both know is true in order to be in any kind of relationship with you, I am very clear that I am in the wrong room and I'm just not interested. Not anymore. No, thank you. The truth is everything for an empath. Number 3, empaths know what they want. An empowered empath is very clear and knows exactly what he or she wants. Now, I'm talking about empowered empaths here. If you still don't know this about yourself and you have untreated codependency and unresolved wounding and trauma, you haven't graduated into an empowered empath yet. So you might still be confused about who you are, why you're here, and what you really want. In other words, what's right for you, what you actually deserve. But typically, an empath will have a really good idea. Deep down, they know. And if they've stepped into their power at any level, getting where they want to go is an important priority for an empath. There comes a point where we wake up. I think all of humanity is moving in this direction. I just think for some of us, it's happening faster than others. Some of us are leading the way, so to speak. Again, not a value issue. We all have value, but it's obvious some people on this planet are waking up faster than others. And once an empath starts to wake up, you know you're on a mission. Even if that isn't completely crystallized in terms of what it is, you know you came here for a reason, a purpose. There is a mission and a calling, and you know that it's important. And the more you step into your power and that clarity and that high vibration, the less time you have for deeply unconscious, empathy-impaired people. Instead, you start loving yourself, taking care of yourself, and you get on purpose, on path. You get about the business of doing what you came here to do, which ultimately boils down to clarity. And empowered clarity is all about knowing exactly who you are, why you're here, and what you want. Number 4, empaths want empathic partners, which is a big challenge because if you're anything like me and a lot of my clients, for years, simply by virtue of how I had been programmed in my family of origin, by virtue of the wounding that I experienced and all the stuff that I carried unresolved and unhealed for so long, while I went through life attracting one destructive narcissist after another, until I finally surrendered and did the healing and recovery work I needed to do. Empaths want empathic partners, and that can be a big challenge when we haven't done our work, is the point I'm trying to make. Empaths want meaningful relationships that have many levels of complexity. And it's hard for the average person to show up for and hold space and meet a highly empathic human with that depth of intensity if they don't carry the same level of empathy themselves. If a person is looking for a one-night stand, an empath is not the person to go to. In particular, an empowered empath, since we're talking about someone who is waking up or has woken up and is fully standing in their power. They're not your target audience if you're looking for a one-night stand. Empaths want many levels of complexity, and in fact, not just romantically, but in friendships as well. Surface level, superficial, all the image BS, hard for an empath. Like, I don't mind talking about shoes for a couple of minutes, but then let's get real, right? Let's dive into the real stuff of life. And this is why it's on us to do our work. The more we do our work, the more we open ourselves up to attract partners and friends who actually resonate at the same level. I know for me, the low empathy people really started to fall out of my life in every way imaginable. Sometimes more painful than others for sure, but always for my highest good, always taking me to higher ground. And the more I did my own internal healing and recovery work, the less compelled I was towards people who aren't soul aligned. And they aren't attracted to me either. As I'm sure you can imagine, I'm no fun for a narcissist or otherwise toxic person. Now comment below and tell me whether or not any of this resonates as true for you and your experience. Let me know in the comments section below. And if you'd like to learn more about the possibility of working with me in my 8-week transformational coaching program, the Freedom Class, there is a link in the description below where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. Number 6, empaths see through you. Empaths see through the crap and all the BS, even if they don't let on. And this might be my favorite because frankly, it's the story of my life. People who suffer from self-esteem and confidence issues don't tend to hold their own very well with highly empathic people. Not because the empath is lacking in empathy, tolerance, or compassion, but because their own fear and insecurity get in the way. I know this is true in my own experience, and I think we've all had the experience where insecure, fear, and shame-based people are easily triggered by us. They can't hold their own well with empathic people because empaths are so in touch with their own feelings and the state of affairs we find ourselves in. They can pick up on phony and imposters in a nanosecond and see right through the bullshit. Fake, phony, artificial, superficial, none of that can withstand the presence of an empath for very long. We see you, we feel you, and we're on to you. We can feel it. We know when we're dealing with a false persona, the mask, the make-believe and pretend nonsense. And fundamentally, because we can't make contact with your heart, with your true self, probably because you haven't done so yet yourself. And that's okay. That's where some people are at. No judgment, no criticism, no condemnation. It just makes it really, really difficult for us to develop any kind of real friendship or relationship when that's the case. We feel it, even from great distances. We're on to you. Number 7, empaths like consistency. They really struggle with flaky people. Inconsistent, unreliable, unpredictable, flaky people who feel entitled to bail and don't follow through on their promises. Like, how hard is it to honor my commitments and behave like a decent human being? Not very when you're not entirely wrapped up in self. So empaths will tend to have a high standard based on common decency, courtesy, and respect because we have empathy. We respect other people's time. Remember, empaths like consistency. Number 8, empaths are intense. There's no way around it. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a little intense. I can come out of an hour-long meditation and I'm still intense. We're intense people. And when you get 2 empowered empaths together, we don't even really have to finish the sentences because we vibe, we get it, we can meet each other there. Like it or not, we vibrate at a different frequency than the average Joe. And again, this isn't a value issue. It doesn't make us better or special. We're just wired differently. So again, there's no way around it. Empaths have a lot of intensity. And once they're fully empowered, they aren't making any apologies for that. God knows I spent long enough apologizing for who I am, surrounded by a bunch of deeply unconscious, destructive narcissists for a good portion of my life. I'm not apologizing for who I am ever again as long as I'm Tamie M on this planet moving forward in my life. If I make a mistake, if I accidentally hurt you, if I drop the ball and I owe you an apology, an amends, I'm the first one there. But apologize for being me, for who I am and how I'm wired, or worse yet, for your triggers that you have yet to take responsibility for? No way. Not happening. Not doing it. Like it or not, this is who I am. And when we get to that place of genuine self-love, self-esteem, and self-confidence, our light, as Marianne Williamson says, gives others permission to do the same, to rise up and shine. We don't do anyone any favors by hiding our light so that insecure people feel more comfortable around us. So we don't apologize for it. You either get on board with what we've got going on or you get out of the way. It's really that simple for an empowered empath. And it's true. Once you step into your full power, it really is that simple. And honestly, guys, it's a great way to live. Look, we're highly empathic people. We're not out there living life in a way where we're deliberately stepping on others' toes or hurting people unnecessarily. We have empathy. We care more than most. We love more than most. We don't need to be apologizing for who we are or why we're here or what we're doing. We just need to be true to ourselves, following our heart, and serving those we're meant to serve. Period. Number 9, empaths are courageous. Not fearless, courageous. They do it, whatever it is, in spite of the fear. If they know it has to be done, fear is the last thing that will stop them or hold them back. Again, we're talking about spiritual warriors here, right? Mission souls. So there are no half measures with an empath. Do not ever make the mistake of underestimating an empath and what they're capable of pulling off. They will shock you every time. Courage defines them. Strength and personal integrity define them. For all the love and light they carry, your opinion, not even on the radar for a fully empowered empath. They lead with courage, in spite of the fear. Number 10, empaths are independent. You should know that an empowered empath won't wait around for another person to get their shit together. Why? Because an empowered empath does not need another human being to solidify their place in the world. And while that might mean they're single for much longer than they otherwise would have hoped, they're okay with it and their choices, and stand by them so they can ultimately enjoy the quality of love they've always wanted and know they deserve. And when an empath has done their work, they're capable of healthy, interdependent, truly loving friendships, relationships, and partnerships. The kind that absolutely have the power to change the world. It's why we're here, friends. And with that, I'm going to call it a wrap. But don't stop now. I have well over 100 more videos right here on YouTube for you to watch to help you better understand the detrimental effects of narcissistic abuse and, more importantly, learn what you need to do now to heal from the abuse so you can start living your best life in peace, confidence, and freedom. And if you want to go deeper with me, go to TamieMCoaching.com and learn about my unique, tried and true process garnered over decades of experience and learn how you can become my client.